This is the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping our show on March 24th, 2017. Our time is 8:43 Mountain. If you ever miss a radio show, remember they're streaming live on Harold's websites, rarecoloreddiamonds.com and HESradio.com. We also have a podcast through iTunes. Type in the World Financial Report on Radio. Connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022. Our featured diamond of the week from rarecoloreddiamonds.com is a .29 carat princess cut fancy intense pink argyle. And speaking of pinks, we'll talk about it in the second half of the show. The Pink Star, the most valuable cut diamond ever offered at auction, estimated to achieve over $60 million, will go up for auction April the 4th in Hong Kong at Sotheby's. We'll talk about that in the second half of the show, but go take a look at our featured diamond. It's that .29 carat princess cut fancy intense pink argyle. And Harold, give us an update on what was happening this week in the financial markets with U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar, oil and gold, and all the things that we watch.
Well, markets were actually trading in a range at this particular point, obviously waiting for some news. And you can tell that the markets are tense at this particular point because President Trump at this point here is trying to get a bill passed to get rid of Obamacare, and that's not going well for him at this particular point. The thing that concerns me is the threats that he makes to other countries, especially North Korea at this point. We know that we don't want to get into a war with North Korea. So at this particular point, the markets seem to be almost on alert at this time. I mentioned on last week's show that it doesn't happen very often, but it's very possible, and it's happening at this particular point, that the U.S. dollar would be strong and gold would be strong at the same time. It's happened back in the 80s when gold hit $850 at its high. It actually made a rally from $25 to $125, all the way up to $850 that it hit in 1980. And in 1980, interest rates were at 14 to 16%, eventually went as high as 22%. A lot of us remember that. But the fact is that it is possible, and it doesn't happen too often, but gold and the U.S. dollar could remain strong at the same time, and that's actually what's happening at this particular time. It's not that we've got a runaway gold market. I would be impressed if gold was to break $1,380, but that's $140 from now. So at this particular point, the range for gold, believe it or not, is quite substantial. It's got heavy support at 1,050, and it's got resistance to break above that at 1,380. So that's a fairly big spread. So at this particular point, we're going to continue to watch gold, and if the U.S. dollar, continues to strengthen, which I give it a 99.9% chance that it will, and things start to back off a little bit, you could see gold back off, but I really don't believe that that's going to happen at this time. I think we got a stable gold market. Don't forget there's a direct correlation between gold and the dollar. In 1999, at that particular point, at 2000, when we first made our recommendation at gold at that point, gold was at 250, but the U.S. dollar was at its strongest level. It was the strongest currency. So you had a very strong U.S. dollar, and consequently, gold was extremely weak at 250, and nobody at that point was trading gold. All of a sudden, we started to see changes in the currency markets and changes in the United States. 9/11 happened. All of a sudden, the U.S. dollar started to weaken, and that's when gold really started to take off. So the U.S. dollar went from its highest level in 1999-2000 point, and gold was at $250. All of a sudden, these changes started happening in the economy in the United States and happened in the U.S. dollar, and the U.S. dollar started coming down, and gold started running on the upside. And as it happens, the U.S. dollar went from 115, one of its highest levels ever, all the way down to 72.5 cents. And that happened over a period of 11 years. By 2011, gold was at $1,920, the highest level it's ever hit. It was actually $1,100 higher than it was back in 1980. And the fact is that the U.S. dollar was at its lowest level of 72.5 cents. So there's the correlation between gold and the U.S. dollar. After 2011, things started to change. The U.S. dollar started getting stronger, and gold started to weaken again. So gold went from 1920 all the way down to 1,050, and the U.S. dollar went from 72.5 cents all the way up to over par again. So that's the relationship between gold and the U.S. dollar. What we have right now is a strong U.S. economy. Well, when I say a strong U.S. economy, stronger than anybody else's, but don't think that the U.S. is in great shape. It's not. There's still many, many things in the U.S., and Randy's going to touch on them in a few minutes, that are extremely concerning. But the fact is that the U.S. economy appears to be better than any other economy in the world at this particular point, and that's why the U.S. dollar is so strong, and why the Dow is trading up over 20,000, almost at 21,000 in the United States. So we anticipate that we are going to see a very strong U.S. dollar. One of the reasons for that is that we're going to see at least 3 interest rate hikes in 2017, and possibly more than that. If the U.S. economy does start to heat up and get stronger and stronger, they may raise interest rates more than that. Now, I know this is confusing for most people because we just saw interest rates move up, and we actually saw the U.S. dollar drop off by a couple pennies. The reason for that is that move was already built into the marketplace. There's no doubt in my mind that the U.S. dollar is going stronger. In actual fact, it's going to get back to the level that it was back in 1999 and 2000 when it traded at the 115 level. So we've got an opportunity to make an awful lot of money. As the U.S. dollar gets stronger and stronger, it's going to get stronger against other foreign currencies. One of the weakest currencies, and please don't take this the wrong way because we're not bad-mouthing Canada in any way. I'm Canadian. I love Canada. I'm Canadian, so is Randy. But the fact is that it is what it is, and at this point the Canadian dollar is falling, and going to fall substantially because nothing is going well in Canada at this particular point. The real estate market is not doing great. The oil market is not doing great. The economy is just a little bit rough at this particular point. Nobody's made money in retirement savings plans in Canada for the last decade. That's how bad things are. So the fact is that there are opportunities outside of Canada and outside of the Canadian dollar to make a lot of money. We've talked about this for a long time now. We have private investments that our Canadian clients are invited to participate in. One of them pays over 24% a year return in U.S. dollars. There's no way in the world that you can do better than that. And the only reason that this is being offered is because it is a private investment that we've been involved in for decades. My partner's family is a 4th-generation miner, and these are mining deals that we allow our Canadian clients to invest in. What we want you to do is get out of weak Canadian dollars and get some investments into strong U.S. dollar-based investments with us. That will make you a ton of money. Not only do the assets go up substantially in value, but also so does the currency. So again, trading a weaker currency, a weaker Canadian dollar for a much stronger American dollar makes sense anyways. But to be able to get into a private investment with my company that has been going on for many, many, many years now that will pay you over 24% a year is just spectacular. So, again, we invite all of our Canadian clients to get in touch with us, discuss these potential investments, and let us show you how you can get out of the financial doldrums, which most Canadians are in it right now, because let's face it, the stock market's not doing great in Canada, either is the real estate market, either is the oil market, and either is the Canadian dollar. So if we just sit there and let this happen to us, then shame on us. But there's opportunities to get into other investments that are still conservative but pay much higher rates of return, and the rates are also in U.S. dollars. It's a must situation for us, and we really got to learn more about this. So please give me a call. I'll explain it all to you personally and see if it's right for you. But again, You need to get out of Canadian dollar-based investments at this point because the Canadian dollar looks like it's going to drop well down into the 60s, and if we don't take advantage of that, then shame on us.
So how do you invest today so you can retire tomorrow? That's why you need to speak with Harold Siegel, and he's always happy to take your call. The call is free, 1-800-432-1022. Mark this number down, 1-800-432-1022. RareColoredDiamonds.com is Harold's website, and anything discussed is confidential. Connect with Harold, 1-800-432-1022. Coming up in the second half of the show, we will talk about diamonds. Our featured diamond is a .29 carat princess cut, fancy intense pink argyle, the Pink Star, the most valuable cut diamond ever offered at auction to achieve, maybe they're saying over $60 million, is coming up for auction April the 4th. We'll talk about it in the second half of the show. San Francisco Federal Reserve President John Williams came out this week with an interview on the Wall Street Journal saying that the economy is in a good place and the United States Central Bank should continue to raise interest rates this year as fast or faster than it signaled it would. 3 or even 4 increases as your total makes sense, he told the Wall Street Journal. Most Fed Reserve see 3 interest rate hikes, including one maybe earlier. Obviously, we had the one earlier this month, is appropriate for 2017. Now, Williams said that better than expected economic data or maybe news of significant fiscal stimulus would lead the Fed to raise rates more quickly. And obviously, we believe that will be a booster at some point for the U.S. dollar. One of the stories that came out this week, and it's no surprise to us, we've been following it for quite some time, Sears Holding Company suffered its worst stock decline in 6 weeks after acknowledging substantial doubt about its future, raising fresh concerns about the survival of the company that was once the world's largest retailer. Just imagine that. They've been around 131 years. And they look like they're going bankrupt at some point. When you're talking about substantial doubt about its future, that is not good. Also, Payless, the struggling discount shoe chain, is prepared to file for bankruptcy as soon as next week. And in the European news, Deutsche Bank AG will issue 689.5 million new shares at 11.65 euros, 12.54 American apiece, a 35% discount to Friday's closing price to raise 8 billion euros of fresh capital. In its annual report published today, the bank said it expects revenue to remain broadly unchanged, while revealing that the bonus pool was slashed 500 million euros in 2016. Why would you get a bonus at all when you have a company like that having to raise 8 billion euros? But Harold touched on it, and it is interesting to note that 2 in 5 Americans say, and this is very interesting, they'll need $1 million to retire. And one of the things that I've heard, and this has just changed, it used to be you needed 8 times your salary to retire. So let's say you made $100,000 a year, you'd need 8 times $800,000. Now, if you're in a situation where we are today with very low interest rates and very difficult markets, they're actually saying now 10 times. And setting a retirement goal can feel like a crapshoot. How do you calculate your expenses, especially for health care 5, 10, 50 years from now? If you punted, you are in company. Only 41% of workers have even tried to figure out how much money they need in savings to retire comfortably. So that's something that I think as Canadians we need to really sit down and think about and take a look at your salary, take a look at the money you own, your assets, your liabilities, how much your investments are making, and that's where Harold comes in. Obviously, if you're making much higher returns, that increases your odds of retiring sooner and retiring with more money. That's why we really encourage you to speak with Harold. And now is the time to sit down and figure out how much money you really do need. And then you can find out if you can retire comfortably on the assets and the investments you have. And if you can't, definitely give Harold a call and find out about the programs that he has. 1-800-432-1022, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Now, this is the scary part. So here it is. 2 in 5 Americans say they need $1 million to retire. 1 in 4 workers have less than $1,000 saved for retirement. You're not alone. If your next to nothing is basically savings for retirement, and you're in a pretty big company. Almost 1/4 of workers said that their spouse combined with their savings less than $1,000 saved for retirement. That according to the Employee Benefit Research Institute. Nearly half of everyone surveyed said they had less than $25,000. Sure, $25,000 sounds like a lot, but it's a reasonable goal to have as much stashed away by the time that you need to retire as possible. Now, 1/3 of Americans say that they would have trouble coming up with an emergency $2,000. About 1/3 of consumers say they would have trouble coming up with maybe paying a bill, emergency bill, a root canal. $2,000, according to a new study released Monday. The New York Fed, as part of a survey of consumer expectations, has begun releasing the answers to questions about financial frugality. The study found 67% they were likely to come up with $2,000, meaning nearly 33% said they were not likely to have, hard to believe, $2,000. Now, Americans are dying with an average of $62K of debt. So that means you're probably going to die with some debt to your name, obviously if you haven't managed your finances well. Most people do in the United States. In fact, 73% of consumers had outstanding debt when they were reported as dead, according to Credit.com as of December 2016 and their data. Harold, you take a look at some of the numbers that we just talked about. It's absolutely stunning. 2 in 5 Americans say they'll need $1 million to retire, but what's the average person doing about it? Pretty much nothing. 1 in 4 workers, $1,000 saved for retirement. And then you have a third saying they couldn't come up with $2,000. People are dying with money owed. And people don't have to put themselves in that situation. That's why we've been doing the radio show, to help people be in a position where they have retirement money set aside so they can retire in comfort and dignity. And that is the key to what we've been doing here on this show, helping people make money.
You better believe it. That's frightening, Randy. Just absolutely frightening to think that, as a grown person that's worked, most of your life, that's what the outcome is. It's frightening. And now with interest rates basically at zero in Canada at 0.5%, I mean, it doesn't even matter whether you have $1 million in the bank because you're not making any interest. You realize that if you had $1 million in the bank, which most people can't come anywhere close to, if you were making 10% a year, you're making $100,000. If you're making 1%, you're making $10,000, but in Canada, you'd be making $5,000 return on $1 million in the bank. That's just unconscionable to even think about. So if you don't do something at this particular point, your chances of retiring are slim to none. No interest from the banks, and the stock markets are way too risky. 90% of people that trade stocks lose their money. Right now you've got a very strong stock market in the United States, and that's not necessarily because things are great in the United States. What it basically means is that prior to the elections, you had trillions of dollars sitting on the sidelines because the smart money was out of the market. However, once Trump got in, and the fact that he's a builder, people started feeling more comfortable. The market started to rally, and next thing you know, the Dow is sitting at almost 21,000. So because you had trillions of dollars and all the money that was sitting on the sidelines. Once the market started to rally, all that money started coming into the U.S. market. They just threw it at the market because in all reality, it's the only game in town. All foreign investors were investing in the U.S. market. And people are afraid when they see a market run that they're missing out on something, and they jump into a market for the wrong reasons. You know, right now the Dow is sitting at almost 21,000, but according to what the reports that Randy just read, people are not doing well in the United States. Yes, the rich are getting richer, but the poor are getting poorer, and then so are the middle class. Now, we're going to have to see what Trump does. If Trump is a man of his word and he can really get things done, we're going to start to see better jobs come to the United States. But the fact is that, you know, we don't know at this particular point. All we know is that 40% of Americans don't have $1,000 to their name in the case of an emergency, and that's got to be one of the most frightening things. Don't let that happen to you. Give me a call. Let me explain to you what our programs are, how to get out of Canadian dollar-based investments into U.S. dollar-based investments that are private to my company that you'll do very, very well with. You know, the fact is, Randy and I have been on the radio together for almost 17 years now. We do this radio show every single week. We've never missed a week. We take our business very seriously, and a lot of people have made an awful lot of money with us over the years. Again, if you're a listener to the show, give me a call. Let me explain to you how you can get into some investments that could change your life financially.
Speak with Harold. Mark this number down, 1-800-432-1022. Don't regret not calling. We've had so many people listen to the radio show for a long period of time, 10, 15 years. And it's amazing how some people wait 10, 15 years to call. Do not wait. Do not miss out. Find out more about the investment programs that Harold has where you can start making money today. 1-800-432-1022. RareColoredDiamonds.com is the website. It's interesting to note, investors haven't been this pumped about stocks since right before the financial crisis, even with all the political hoopla that's going on in the United States. And it's also interesting to note, 1 in 3 investors fear stocks are overvalued, the highest in 17 years. But let's say that you do have $1 million. Wait a minute. You're not going to get any interest. In fact, UBS charges customers to deposit euros. Swiss bank UBS will start charging customers who deposit more than €1 million as negative interest rates hit bank profits. The annual 0.6 charge will take effect as of May. So if you're over in Switzerland and it's held in Swiss francs, you're actually going to be charged, you're going to be paying them to keep your $1 million in the Swiss bank. Absolutely stunning. That's why we're saying in the environment that we're in, learn from Harold how to make money in these markets. Learn about Bill C-15, bank bail-ins, negative interest rates, weak Canadian dollar, the housing market in Canada, particularly Toronto and Vancouver, cashless society. Learn more. Connect with Harold at 1-800-432-1022, the website RareColoredDiamonds.com. We're going to come back and talk about a major pink diamond that's coming up for sale and our featured diamond that is a must-have for your portfolio. As the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall, continues right after this. Welcome back to the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping our show on March 24th, the day after my sister's birthday. So happy birthday to my sister. 2017. Our time right now is 9:08 Mountain. Radio show runs on 6:30 CHED in Edmonton, Sunday afternoon at 3. And you can also catch us online if you ever miss a radio show. They're archived at RareColoredDiamonds.com, RareColoredDiamonds.com, HESRadio.com, and we have our podcast through iTunes. Type in The World Financial Report on Radio. Mark this number down. Give Harold a call come Monday morning. 1-800-432-1022. 1-800-432-1022. The website, RareColoredDiamonds.com. Now is the time to find out about the programs Harold has in place where you can start making money today in these financial markets. You don't need to sit in a GIC getting 0.5% or 1%. Now's the time to look at the alternative and put yourself in a position where you can retire comfortably. Our featured diamond of the week from rarecolorediamonds.com is a 0.29 carat princess cut fancy intense pink argyle. This is an absolute beauty. See it online, rarecolorediamonds.com, featured diamond of the week. And as we touched on, and Harold and I were both excited about this, we had the news come out this week, the Pink Star, the most valuable cut diamond ever offered at auction, estimated to achieve over $60 million, will come up for sale here April the 4th. Today, Sotheby's unveiled the Pink Star, the largest internally flawless, fancy vivid pink diamond ever graded by GIA, weighing 59.60 carats. It is the most valuable cut diamond ever offered at auction, estimated to sell for $60 million, when it will be auctioned at Sotheby's in Hong Kong, April the 4th. The current world record holder is the Oppenheimer Blue Diamond, which sold for $57.5 million at Christie's in Geneva last May. The Pink Star was cut from a 132.5 carat rough diamond mined by De Beers in Africa in 1999. It took 2 years. See, this is what happens with the big stones, and Harold has educated us about this before. It took 2 years of meticulous cutting and polishing to hone it to its current oval shape. And we have a picture of it in our free weekly newsletter, which you can get from Harold. It is a stunning diamond. It had been offered for sale before, achieving a record price of $83 million at Sotheby's Geneva in November 2013, but the buyer, a New York-based diamond cutter, defaulted on his payment, leaving the stone to be added to Sotheby's inventory. At a time of unprecedented demand for the finest in colored diamonds, I'm delighted to be bringing the magnificent stone back to the market, said David Bennett, worldwide chairman of Sotheby's Jewelry Division. The extraordinary size of this 59.60 carat diamond, paired with its richness of color, surpasses any known pink diamond recorded in history. The current record price for a pink diamond sold at auction is $46.2 million, achieved by the 24.78 carat Graph Pink, which sold at Sotheby's Geneva in 2010. The Pink Star is more than twice as big as the Graph Pink, and its color rating, Fancy Vivid, is the highest possible grade on the scale used to assess color diamonds, and therefore considered the most valuable. The pink diamond is also rated as internally flawless, meaning it has no internal inclusions, and is type, and this is a 2A stone, that's coveted classification, is giving it less than a 2% of all gem diamonds quality. That's right, 2% of diamonds are in that zone, which signifies chemical purity. And they go on to add, the estimate, the Pink Star would be worth over $1 million per carat. That isn't enough to break the per price carat, which was held by the Blue Moon of Josephine, a 12-carat fancy vivid blue, which sold at Sotheby's Geneva in November 2015 for $48 million, a price of over $4 million per carat. But Sotheby's also holds the record for world auction records for the most valuable fancy vivid pink diamond, the 15.38-carat pear-shaped unique pink, which sold for $31.5 million in Geneva, May 2016, and the world records for the most valuable yellow diamond, ruby, and white diamond, and the 118.28-carat oval D flawless diamond, which sold for $20 million, and this is British pounds, at Sotheby's Hong Kong in October 2013. But we're so excited, Harold. Obviously, you are a worldwide expert when it comes to pink diamonds, and give us your thoughts on the Pink Star.
There's just not another diamond in the world like it. And the thing is that, which is a little confusing, except that the diamond is so large and so perfect in every way that that's a diamond that should sell for $4 million a carat. We've seen pink diamonds sell for over vivid pink, important diamonds sell for over $2 or $3 million a carat. So it would surprise me if this diamond only sold for $1 million a carat, because there's not another pink diamond that compares to it. And in all honesty, that's a diamond that should be selling, for about $3 to $4 million a carat. I don't think that we'll ever see another pink diamond that matches this one. And what Randy said is 100% true. Everything about the diamond is the best that you can possibly get. First of all, it's huge in size. Number two, the color of it is vivid, and it's got the highest saturation of color that you could possibly get, and it's internally flawless. So the fact is that diamond appears to be perfect, but then add to it that it's a type 2A, and you've got a diamond that is untouchable. It means there's no nitrogen in the diamond. In fact, it's almost clear pink, which is just so unbelievably rare. I mean, the person that ends up owning that diamond is very, very lucky. I mean, that is a diamond that I doubt that we'll ever see anything like that diamond again. I was also with some people in the know the other day. We were having lunch. They were in from overseas and major diamond dealers and miners, and they're saying that we've basically seen the end of blue diamonds. They doubt that we'll see very many blue diamonds ever be found again, and the price of blues have reflected that. In 2005, important vivid blue diamonds were selling in and around $200,000 to $300,000 a carat. Last year, in 2016, an important vivid blue diamond sold for almost $5 million a carat. From $200,000 to $5 million a carat for vivid blue diamonds that have actually happened over 2000 in about 11 years. I've never ever seen returns on assets that compare to what's happening in those important diamonds. Now, we're cutting some very important diamonds ourselves. We think that the next major trend in diamonds is going to be with greens. They're very difficult to get. Most of them come from Central and South America. We have our own mines in Venezuela, and we pull out some of the most amazing green diamonds that I've ever seen. Recently, we have a 19.5 carat green diamond. 19.5 carat. In 2016, one of the largest vivid green diamonds sold, it was the Aurora Green. It was only 5 carats. It sold for $15 million, $3 million a carat, and that was only 5 carats. We have a 19.5 carat rough green, and we have a 9 carat vivid pink rough. We've got some of the rarest rough diamonds that I personally have ever seen, and these are diamonds that have just come out of the mines. Never been seen before, and they're ours, and we accept partnerships on these type of deals. So again, we've got some private investments that are unbelievable investments that our clients can actually be our partners on and buy up to 50% of some of the deals that we're showing on our rough diamonds. So again, we've got a 9 carat vivid pink. When's the last time anybody has ever seen a diamond like that? And we have a 19.5 carat green. So there's some amazing diamonds coming out of the rough. But the fact is, those are so few and far between. I mean, the chances of ever getting a diamond like that is so slim. But we do have them, and we are cutting them, and we are actually inviting some of our Canadian clients to be our partners on some of these amazing, amazing diamonds. So, Randy, this is just an amazing way to start 2017 with that diamond coming up for auction. I just think it's one of the greatest diamonds we've ever seen. And with some of the rough that we've been showing, our orange rough, our 9 carat vivid pink rough, and our 19.5 carat green, these are diamonds that defy description.
And we had actually about a month ago a featured diamond that was a 2.5 carat fancy intense green with potential to be nearly internally flawless, and that was a rough. So we have some beautiful rough diamonds that are green in color, and as Harold said, the Aurora Green, $16.5 million at auction. Go to rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Take a look around. Featured diamond of the week is a .29 carat princess cut. Fancy, intense pink argyle. We know the Argyle mine produces 90 to 95% of the world's pink diamonds. It's going to be shutting down in 2020. They may have diamonds in their vaults for 2-3 years, and then that's it. No new diamonds coming out of the Argyle mine. 90 to 95% of the world's pink diamonds gone. And that's why you need to situate yourself in this market before the mine shuts down. In our featured diamond of the week, you can speak with Harold about that diamond, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, or call 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022. There was another good article this week beyond the Pink Star story. Big diamonds are big business, and they were talking about Lucara and their diamond company, and the Lasidi Larona, which is it's around 1,100 carats. It's 1,109 carats, the second largest gem quality rough diamond ever discovered. And they're looking at having that come back to auction as well. And in this article, they talk about big diamonds and the big business surrounding it. It's from the Financial Times of London. But Harold, one of the stories that we've been reading in the past that we had in our free weekly newsletter was from the Wall Street Journal. And they talked about people who are wealthy moving into rare-colored diamonds as an investment to protect themselves from what's going on in the world today. And this asset class, it was really brought to our attention by you back in 2005 when you wrote that very first article. Naturally fancy colored diamonds, the best kept secret, brought to us rarecoloreddiamonds.com. It's been an amazing ride for 12 years, talking and obviously seeing people invest in this market and seeing all the auction results. But now is the time to act, in particular with pink Argyle diamonds, because 3 years will go by so very quickly.
You bet. Time just is flying by, as we all know. And again, it's only going to be 3 years for the Argyle mine to close. There goes 95% of the pink diamonds in the world, because 95% of them come from Argyle. And it's just been an unbelievable ride. I mean, some of the most beautiful small diamonds you've ever seen. Now, obviously, these large pinks do not come from Argyle. Argyle's diamonds are known as the most concentrated form of wealth on earth. Most of them are under a half a carat, but the colors on them are extraordinary. And again, to get an Argyle pink diamond over a carat is extremely rare. So this mine is going to close by around 2020. Give it about 3-4 years for all the diamonds to run out, and we feel that pink diamonds from the Argyle mine are amongst the best investments you could possibly make. They'll never decline in value. They're portable private wealth. They could be sold in other currencies. And again, you're talking about an asset that will soon be gone from the earth. And again, we'll never see them again. So to own Argyle pink diamonds is a phenomenal investment. We have an auction coming up right at around the end of the month. We finally finished videoing the pieces that are going up on this auction site. There's going to be about 20-25 pieces on our auction coming up right at around the end of the month. We finished videotaping them this week. Starting next week, we'll do the voiceovers for all the pieces. You'll literally be able to go to our auction site, click on a diamond or a watch or a gold coin or something like that, and get a full verbal description of it. It's going to be a week-long auction. So you're going to be able to go back and see if your bids are doing well. We're doing everything we can to get it done by the end of this month, and we should be right around there. So we're anticipating it's going to start the end of March, first week of April, and then we anticipate having auctions hopefully every single month. Got some amazing pieces to put up. And again, with the state of the world economy, as bad as it is in Europe and basically all over the world, hard assets are doing much better than conventional assets. And again, to diversify and get out of the risky stock markets and commodity markets and get something into a hard asset is a very smart move at this particular point. Diamonds are going up in value. We're going to get our auctions really going strong. We're excited about those. And again, it's a newer concept, so as we continue to go, we'll learn more about the auction business, but we feel that we're right on track to do extremely well and bring you some of the most beautiful pieces at auction coming up in about a week to 2 weeks.
I think the thing that we really must stress, we've done the radio show for a long time. Harold brought the diamonds to us, as I said, back in 2005. And at that point in time, I followed the financial markets, knew a lot about stocks, bonds, real estate, different investments that were out there. I had never really heard about investing in diamonds. And then you dig deeper and find out the wealthy have been investing in diamonds for hundreds and hundreds of years. And it's interesting to note, someone with the vision of a Harold Siegel saw that as an opportunity for the average everyday person to be, you don't have to be very rich, you don't have to be a billionaire, but you could be a part of this market and make money like the billionaires and millionaires by investing in rare colored diamonds. And in that 12-year period, since he brought it to our attention in 2005, it has just been simply astounding to see how colored diamonds have done. And do not delay. Do not wait. So many people have waited 5, 10 years, and there have been some big profits that have been missed as a result, but we still believe the best is yet to come, but do not delay. If you've never called Harold, you've been listening to the show for a long time, or maybe you're listening for the very first time. If you're listening for the very first time, definitely pick up the phone. If you've been listening for a long time, hear out Harold and find out what opportunities he has for you and your portfolio. You have nothing to lose. There's no obligation. Mark down the number, 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022. The website is rarecoloreddiamonds.com, and it's very hard to retire in the financial world we find ourselves in today. Geopolitically, things are very, very dicey all around the world. Unfortunately, we had another terrorist attack in England, which was heartbreaking to see. And as I touched on today's show, if you have $1 million and you're in Switzerland, if you want that $1 million in the bank with UBS, you'll be paying them money. Everyone is worried about losing their retirement money due to another financial crash. We've seen 2 big crashes, and everyone is worried. Will there be a third at some point? Will we be ever in a position to be able to retire? And there's so many questions. That's why we do the radio show. That's why Harold is there at the other end of the phone to sit down with you and talk about your concerns, the investments that you have, the possibilities that he has for you to invest in. So you put yourself in a position where you're in good financial shape. And you're not like the average everyday American, as we touched on earlier. It's just absolutely stunning. Somebody dying with $62,000 in debt. That should never, ever happen. And then 1 in 4 workers, less than $1,000 saved for retirement. 1/3 of Americans said they'd have trouble coming up with $2,000 in an emergency. And Harold, let's face it, $2,000, and a couple of years ago I had to go through a couple of root canals, and that's well over a couple $1,000, couple root canals, that's all it takes. And don't put yourself in a position where you don't have that money. Invest today so you can prosper tomorrow. And Harold, I do congratulate you because you brought this market to us, and I really didn't know a lot about it. Obviously, over the years, the last 12 years, I've really studied it and investigated it, and we've brought all the different stories of the big diamonds that have gone on sale, like the Pink Star, to our radio listeners. It is an exciting market, and the potential is really unlimited when the Argyle mine shuts down.
You bet. You bet. It's just, again, this is something I think, Randy, that will never, ever be duplicated because there is not another mine in existence that does what the Argyle mine does, which is produce 95% of any particular colored diamond, especially one as valuable as pinks. I think Argyle has done an amazing job over the years of marketing Argyle Pink Diamonds and the Argyle Tender, which is the biggest event of the year in diamonds. I just think it's just an amazing thing to see how these diamonds that come out of the ground a different color than any other. And again, the mystery of it, because we know what makes a diamond blue, it's boron. We know what makes a diamond yellow or orange, it's nitrogen. We know what makes a diamond green, it's uranium. But we don't know what makes a diamond pink or red. And that's the mystery of the Argyle mine. When a diamond comes out of the Argyle mine, they produce 30 million carats of diamonds a year, but only a handful of them are colored diamonds. So those are extremely rare, extremely valuable, and that mine is going to close. It's just an unbelievable time in history, and we want to make certain that we're on top of that.
Harold Siegel wrote the article back in 2005, August 9, 2005. Naturally fancy colored diamonds, the best kept secret, and the secret was brought to your attention, our radio listeners, and for those that have invested, they have done very well. The most secure and profitable investment, I used to say millions of years in the making, but now, actually, I say billions. We talked about that BBC article a few weeks back where they talked about why is a pink diamond pink. They do not know. After all the testing, they do not know. But it's billions of years in the making, rare colored diamonds. Nature's art, private, portable, stable wealth. Speak with Harold Siegel today about starting your own diamond investment portfolio. Receive a free copy of our weekly World Financial Report on Radio newsletter. See the articles that we're talking about. Be on the same page that we are. You can go through it in 5 minutes, be completely up to date on what's happening in the world financially and geopolitically, or you can spend hours. It's really up to you. But if you've waited, now is the time to pick up the phone and call 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022, because the opportunities that are available today will not be around forever. The Argyle mine will close down. It seems like yesterday we were talking about the Argyle mine. We knew it potentially could close down. We didn't have an exact date. And this was about maybe 5-6 years ago. Then here in the last couple of years, they actually gave us a specific date of 2020. And that point we knew, okay, that is the drop dead date. That is when the mine is going to shut down. So really, Harold, there's no excuses for anyone who misses out on this opportunity because we do have a firm date of when this mine is going to be shutting down. And one of the things we do know as well, they are not starting new mines that are finding 90 to 95% of the world's pink diamonds. You can guarantee this may be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity or an event that they would find an Argyle mine, and then, obviously, in our lifetime, to see it be depleted, and only the diamonds in the secondary market will be the ones that people get to invest in, and at that point, who knows where the prices could go. We have 2 minutes left.
Yeah, I just think the prices have nowhere to go but up. Again, right now they're stable and strong. The closer we get to the mine closing, I think sales are going to pick up. But this is not something that's mass-produced. There's not a ton of these diamonds around. In fact, there's very, very few. The beautiful thing is that if you took the whole year's production of Argyle pink diamonds for the tender, it would not even fill a champagne flute. That's how small the pink diamond market is. Just imagine when the mine does close down, and they're talking about 95% of the pinks being gone. What does that leave? There's no big, huge pink diamonds coming onto the market on a daily or weekly or monthly basis. They just don't exist. This is a rare time to be involved in diamonds. We're very, very excited about it. And with every other market so volatile, and with interest rates down to 0.5% and going negative, and all the markets around the world in disarray, this is an amazing time to be in the rare color diamond market.
The opportunity is out there, and it's a phone call away. It's just a matter of, are you willing to make the phone call to find out what the opportunities are for you to make money? Speak with Harold Siegel, 1-800-432-1022, rarecoloreddiamonds.com is the website. Harold, thanks for another great show and your knowledge as usual.
It's my pleasure, Randy. I wish everybody a wonderful weekend and a very profitable day.
Yes, definitely get our free weekly newsletter because we have information on our featured diamond of the week, an absolutely stunning pink Argyle, and find out about the pink star as well.